Hey everyone, good morning and good evening. Sorry, there was some issues with my system. Okay, so let's see what exactly we're doing today, and let's do a quick recap. Yesterday we spoke about a release pipeline wherein we have created our own release pipeline and we have deployed our ASP.NET application on Azure Web App, and we understood what exactly is continuous delivery and continuous deployment model is all about. Today, taking this forward, there is an important concept which we need to learn is Azure agent pool. This is a concept which we need to understand what exactly is agent pool and how do we create our own agent pool. So agent pool is basically a collection of agents. Okay, so instead of managing each agent individually, we can organize everything inside a pool. Pool by the name itself is like how you have a complete folder and you have subfolders inside it, and at the folder level only you're managing everything. So that is what pool is all about. So this pool over here is filled with all the agents. Okay, it is your self-hosted agent or it could be a Microsoft hosted agent. There are two types of agent which you will come across. Agents are nothing but it's a VM, like a virtual machine. Okay, it could be a virtual machine, it could be Docker containers also. So your agent pool can be set up on a virtual machine. If you have a virtual machine available, you can set this up on a virtual machine. Or if you want to have containers service or Kubernetes service to work as an agent, then even that is possible. Now if you go back, there is the browser. If you go back and if you go and look into the pipelines what we have created, we were using an agent pool over there. Correct? There was an agent pool what we have used known as Azure pipelines, and this is the agent pool which we were using, Azure pipeline. So this is a hosted one. This is a Microsoft hosted agent pool, and there are agent specification which you see. So what exactly this is done, like this is created by Microsoft guys. Microsoft has given access to one agent pool, and in that one agent you have one agent access. You got total 1800 minutes free. In the free tier you got total 1800 minutes free. Post that you will start getting charged. That 1800 minutes is more than sufficient for you to build and release and to test your pipelines. That is more than sufficient. Okay, but in reality the companies, they go and purchase this agent pools. So agent pool is not free, whether it is Microsoft hosted or whether it's a self-hosted. There is a cost involved. Microsoft hosted comes it is roughly around, I think $30 per month for one agent. I'll have to go and check the portal for that. And wherein on other side the self-hosted is somewhere around $10 to $15. Microsoft hosted is costly because Microsoft is also providing the VMs and everything in the backdrop. It is giving you the resources and everything, it's giving you upfront. Wherein in self-hosted you need to have your own VM. Okay, and on that top of it you can go and set up your own agent pool. So as I said, there are two types of agent pool which you will come across: Microsoft hosted agent and self-hosted agent. Now what exactly is the agent pool? If you want to build your code or deploy your software using pipelines, you need at least one agent. Okay, so for building and deploying your code you will need one agent. As you add more code and more people, you eventually need more. So as the load increases, you have more pipelines, more people working in parallel, and then in that cases one agent will not do. One agent, which basically I'm talking about one VM guys. In that big pool, like suppose if you're creating a pool, in that big pool if you have one VM, and on that VM you are adding one agent, and then everyone will start using that agent. And as people increase, because if one pipeline is running, there's no parallelism if you have only one agent. So if one pipeline is running, the other has to wait. As simple as that. You'll get a clear message that the agent is busy, wait, while the other execution is happening. If you want parallel execution, then what you do, you create more agents, you add more VMs to it. Same goes with Azure pipelines also, as if now we have only one agent which is available even from Azure side. If you want to enable parallelism, you need to go and purchase it. The other agent is chargeable, it's not free. Keep that in mind. So when your pipeline runs, the system begins one or more jobs. An agent is a computing infrastructure with installed agent software that runs job at a time. So basically an agent will have, it's a compute infrastructure, it's a VM as I said, and it will have all the necessary binaries will be installed on top of it. If you're using Microsoft hosted agent, which is created by Microsoft, then in that case you don't have to worry about anything as such, what is install agent and all. Everything is taken care by Microsoft. But when you are setting up your own, at that time you need to know what are these binaries, from where do you get this file, how do you set up an agent. So that is something we'll see today. Okay, so two types: Microsoft hosted, if your pipelines are in Azure pipelines. So this pipeline, this is my pipelines. If you see, we are in Azure pipelines. So this is the agent pool name of Microsoft hosted agent, Azure pipelines. Okay, so this is the name of the agent pool. Inside this agent pool you got one agent running. Okay, then we get an option to run jobs using Microsoft hosted agent. With Microsoft hosted agent, maintenance upgrades are taken care for us. So you don't need to worry about how the maintenance will happen. You don't need to worry about how the upgrade will happen, how the patching will happen, how the agents are managed. Everything is taken care by Microsoft itself. Okay, each time we run an agent, each time we run a pipeline, a fresh virtual machine for each job in the pipeline is created. What did I say in the beginning when we were running the build pipeline? That the scope and the limitation of this pipeline agent is limited to the build which we are running. Once the build is successful or once the build is failed, whatever agent has been assigned, like suppose this example, once the build is successful or once the build is failed, whatever agent has been assigned, okay, this will also be removed. Hence you will not have access to the files which is getting created on the agent. And when you do a second run, like for example this was the second run, then there's a new agent which is getting assigned, it's not the previous one. So each time you click on this run new, there's a new agent which is getting assigned to you. That is what Microsoft hosted agent, this is how it works. What exactly happens in the backend? It's not a VM, guys. Frankly speaking, it's not a VM. It's a container which gets created. This is how Microsoft is running this agent. It's a container which gets created. A container is getting assigned to you, wherein you're executing your task. Once your task is executed, whether it's success or failure doesn't matter, the container is destroyed. Again, when you try to run it, again a new container is getting created. That is how Microsoft is handling this agents at the back end. You can do the same thing by yourself also. If you want to set up agents in a container, even that is possible. Okay, so that is how Microsoft is handling this. On the other hand, what is self-hosted? An agent that you set up, manage on your own to run job is a self-hosted agent. This is something we do, we create, we manage, and then we run it. Self-hosted agent gives you more control to install dependent software needed to build your deployments. Now this self-hosted agent, basically if you ask me, it gives you more control. What I was saying in my Microsoft hosted agent, that you don't have any controls. Even to access file, what we were doing, we were publishing into a drop location, and from there we were accessing the file. Now if you want to go and plus you will have a set of binaries, so everything is already installed. And if you have any specific other requirement, just imagine that you have an application, and in that application you have a specific requirement that you will need a .NET framework of 3.1. Just an example, just giving an example to you. And you have a specific requirement, this is the framework version needs to be installed on your agent to build your application. There is a specific requirement. Can you do it on Microsoft hosted agent? No, you cannot do it. You don't have access to the agent. You cannot go and download any specific plugins or binaries by yourself. Where do you do all such things? If you are setting up your own agent pool, and if you're setting up your own agent, over there you can, if you have any customized requirement that I will need this binary, this framework should be available, this version of .NET, Java, or Maven should be available to build my application. In such cases you will be using self-hosted agent. You need to set up your own VM, you need to set up your own agent pool, and using that agent pool you will be able to build and release your application. That is the benefit of using self-hosted. The disadvantage of using self-hosted, things needs to be managed all by yourself. Microsoft will not be involved anywhere. Microsoft will give you the binaries to set up your agent pool. You need to go and upgrade the agent pool by yourself. If there's any change, everything needs to be managed. So it's quite a big task which you are doing by yourself. Okay, that is again a disadvantage of self-hosted. Again a question, is it free? Because it's my VM, I'm setting up everything. No, you need to pay for, even if you are using a self-hosted agent pool, you need to pay for it. That's a minimum. Like if you do a comparison with Microsoft hosted and self-hosted, it's a minimum. We can go and check on the portal, we'll come to know what exactly the charges are, but it is minimum. Okay, so this is why we need self-hosted agent and Microsoft hosted agent. Microsoft hosted agent, like in what scenario you will be using Microsoft hosted agent? Basically, if you're deploying things on cloud, on Azure cloud, then better go with Microsoft hosted agent because the latency is very less and it gets a proper bandwidth. If you're using a hosted agent of Microsoft, you get a proper bandwidth to run and execute your task. So as compared to your self-hosted, Microsoft hosted is quite faster. Wherein if you have your own data center, if you are having hybrid environment wherein you're pushing things to your local data centers also, local data center servers also, in that case self-hosted agent is the best option. Okay, so and plus if you have any restriction that only this much of ports should be open, only this traffic will be allowed, any such restrictions, then self-hosted agent, wherein you can customize and create your own agent by yourself. Where exactly we can host this agent? Anywhere. If you have a VM where you have a running VM and if you have all the required ports open, you can set up whether AWS, GCP, Google, Azure, or on your local system, local data center, or in your local laptop. Wherever you want to do it, you can do it. There's no restriction, no stopping. It's just the binaries which will be provided by Microsoft. You just have to go and execute those binaries. That's it. This is how you will be setting up self-hosted agents. Okay, so we have already seen what is Microsoft hosted agent because we have executed a release and build pipeline using that. Now let's go and see how do we set up self-hosted agents. Before that, let me show you where exactly you can find all this. So under project settings, under pipeline, there is an option of agent pools. Under agent pools, if you go and see, there are two options. What you see, that is Microsoft hosted agent and self-hosted agent. Azure pipelines, when you see, this is Microsoft hosted agent, so all my jobs are getting executed using this pipeline. Now you will say, in this project hardly we have ran only 3 or 4 jobs. How come you're getting so many jobs? This is not just this account. guys, this is all my giving jobs from all my projects what I have. So I have so many projects, so it is giving output from all my projects. Okay, now let's go back to the project settings, go to agent pools again, and this is the hosted agent. Now this is the name of my agent, guys. This is the name of the pool. In that pool I have this agent running, which is online right now. Last we executed something that was yesterday. This is more details about the pool. This is more security restriction. This is about permission. This is something we'll talk about later. And this is analytics. Now purchase concurrency. So if you want concurrent jobs to run, so you need multiple agents basically. So for now I don't need concurrency because that is not free, obviously. So we can go and create our own agent pool. Now plus there is an option of parallel jobs. So as if now this is, as I said earlier, this is we have free tier, and in free tier we get 1800 minutes free. And how many minutes we have consumed till now? 8 minutes. Okay, one parallel job up to 1800 minutes per month. I can just run one parallel job. If I want to have more, I need to go and purchase, put in my credit card information and put in all the information, which is not required from learning perspective, guys. So you should not do it. In company they will have all this purchase beforehand, so don't worry about that. In reality you don't need this parallel concurrency. Okay, same goes with self-hosted. Even one self-hosted is allowed. I can go and create one self-hosted agent in this account. Post that, you need to go and purchase it. While I'm talking about purchase, let's go and see the charges. Charges. Okay, pricing. The first, Azure DevOps services, Azure DevOps server. Okay, anyone has any confusion? What is this Azure DevOps service and Azure DevOps server? What is the difference between Azure DevOps service and Azure DevOps server? Guys, question to you all. While you're thinking, this is your costing. Individual services, so this is basically for us, for me, people like me who doesn't have a multiple people working. It is on uses, based on my uses I'll be using it. So this is free, one free Microsoft hosted, one free self-hosted. This is free which we're using. And in Azure Artifact you get 2 GB free, then you get even 2 GB space is free. But if I just increase hosted agent more, see the cost. Microsoft hosted agent 2 I made. If I self-hosted, see the cost, $15, and Microsoft hosted $40. This is the costing which will happen. This is how it gets charged to me. On the user license end, you get 5 user free, and after that per user is $6 per month. In this what you're getting? In this you're getting Azure pipelines, Azure board, Azure repos, Azure artifacts, and number of users you can go and increase. And this is the cost. This is your purchasing user license. Same goes with basic plus test plan. So this is all licenses will be taken by your company itself, because this is all handled from Office 365. In the Office 365 itself, from there whenever they are creating user, they will allocate a Azure DevOps license also to you. Okay, this is how the billing will happen. Now the question is, what is this Azure DevOps services and what is this Azure DevOps server? See, the Azure DevOps server costing is different. And what exactly are we using? Is it a service or a server? Question. Anyone? What is this? When you get a question in an interview, What is Azure DevOps Service and what is Azure DevOps Server? What will you say? Is it same or what exactly it is?
I think if I can try, I think Azure DevOps Server is mostly what we implement. Like if we're implementing on premise, it doesn't come with most of the services that we have. If you want to compare with Azure DevOps services, and Azure DevOps services is like what we're using in cloud. That's my understanding.
Perfect. Very good try. Anyone else? Anyone? Bhagya, Sebastian, Satish, Guy. No one? Okay. So the major difference between this Azure DevOps service and Azure DevOps server is the type of offering you get. What do I mean by offering? One is cloud offering, the other one is on-premises offering. The one which we are using is Azure DevOps service. Keep this in mind. This is basically, it's a cloud offering provided by Azure DevOps. You can scale it. This is reliable. It is globally available. Hosted services. Now if I'm using this project now in India, tomorrow if I go to US, if I want to use the same project on any other system, I can easily use it by going to this portal and logging in. It is backed by 99.9% SLA, service level agreement, and this service is getting monitored by 24/7 monitoring team in Microsoft. This is cloud offering. It is hosted on Microsoft side. It is managed by Microsoft. The underlying hardware infrastructure is all managed by Microsoft, and the screen which you see, it's a portal given to you wherein you are using this portal. Perfect. That is what Azure DevOps services, and the costing which you just saw, that was basically related to Azure DevOps services. Okay. Second, what is Azure DevOps server? Now Azure DevOps server is an on-prem offering. Azure DevOps server is built on a SQL server backed. See, it has a SQL server backend. When do we choose this server? So customer usually choose this on-prem version when they need their data to stay within their network. They don't want to share any of their data on cloud. So this is when you're running your agent pool, your source code is getting copied to the agent pool. It is all private, guys. Basically no one has access to it, nor even if you go and ask Microsoft, do you have access to the agent pool? Even they don't have access to it. But somehow the data is going out of your network and it is going out in your cloud environment. Okay. If you are a banking company, if you are a very high security army firm or something like that, and you don't want any of your data to go anywhere outside, then for such companies you will have this server option wherein you will set everything within your network. Everything will be set within your network. This server will be set up by yourself within your network. And plus it is backed, as I said, it is backed by SQL server in the backend. If you want to have a SQL server reporting services, then even that is possible. You can use SQL server reporting capability for any sort of reportings what you want to do. So this is the major difference: cloud offering, on-prem offering. Azure DevOps services, Azure DevOps server. Difference. Okay guys, which one do we use? Mostly we use this one mostly, even in companies. Okay, perfect. Any questions guys with the Azure DevOps service and server? No question, then let's move on. Okay, what are we doing today? We are setting up our own self-hosted agent. Let's go to our project and we'll try to execute my existing pipelines using my own agent. Okay, so let's go into agent pools. Now this Azure pipeline, what you see, this has a cloud sign, that means it's a Microsoft hosted agent, and the one with this data center sign, this means you can put in your self-hosted agent over here. So this is a default pool which is created. If you want, you can put in all your agents inside it, or if you don't want to use this, you can create your own. Let's name it as self-hosted agent, something like this, whatever name you want to give. File permission, you want all my pipelines to use this agent. Okay, so we got a pool created. It's not an agent inside right now. We have a pool created. I can go and add agents to it. How do I add agent? Two ways. Either I can go and create a VM and I can start running my agent binaries in it, or else I can set this on my local system itself. That will be more convenient for us. So I'm using my own system, my own laptop, and on my own laptop I'll be setting up an agent. How do I do it? Just click on new agent. These are the steps which you need to go and execute. If it's Windows, if it is Mac, this is the step. If it is Linux, these are the steps. Okay, in Windows x64, that's a 64-bit architect machine if you have, then 64. If you're using a x86 32-bit, it's obsolete now guys, so I don't know if you are using still Windows XP and all, then you might have this, but if you're using Windows 7 and above, then x64. Windows XP is not even supported. If you want to know the system prerequisite, what are the minimum prerequisite for Windows, it is Windows 7 and above. In server, Windows 2012 and above. PowerShell should be PowerShell 3.0 and above. .NET Framework is 4.62 and above. Let me tell you, if you have Windows 7 and above, all these prerequisites are already met. This is very least minimum which we are talking about. Same goes with Linux machine also. These are the OS which is supported. Okay, so we have the prerequisite in place. I can go and download these binaries. So a zip file of 178 MB is getting downloaded right now. Okay, so let this gets downloaded first, and in the meanwhile let's see what this command is talking about. Let's open this in. So if you see this, it's saying make directory agent. So in a C drive, it is asking you to create a directory called agent, then change to that directory agent. Then it is trying to add some assembly. So let's open a PowerShell and let's go into a C drive first. Windows PowerShell. Okay, now how do we go in C drive in PowerShell? CD C, very simple. Okay, we are in CLS. We are in C drive now. Now what is the command? Next command, make directory agent and switch to that command, cd agent. So we have the agent folder created. The next command, and don't move this file, leave this file as it is in the download folders guys, don't move anywhere. Now if you see the next command which is running, add type assembly name system IO compression file system, this is the assembly which we are adding. What exactly this is doing, this assembly will be doing, it will extracting your file. From which location it will be extracting your file? It will be extracting your file from home download, and this is the name of your zip file which we just downloaded. This is the name of your zip file which we have just downloaded. And where exactly it will be extracted? It will be extracted in the current working directory. What is your current working directory? pwd C agent. Okay, So this is an auto command. Again, let's copy this command from here and let's do that. So this is basically just doing extraction, guys. This big command is just doing extraction, nothing else. Okay, if you want to extract, you can just right click, extract to the download folder. Manually also you can do it. So it's not doing anything fancy, just extracting your files to this location. Okay, now let's go and verify. Let's go in C drive. Where is agent? This is the agent. Now do you see what all things we got? We got this binaries. So these are the binaries which is required to run any sort of build, not just .NET build, guys. If you want to run a Java Maven build, even this binaries will be helpful. If you want to run any Golang, Python, any such build, this is all capable. If you want to have some customize, then you can go and put those binaries over here. This is config. This is to run your agent pool. As if now the agent is not running. Okay, it's not been added also. So this is config if you want to config. So we'll go and run this config for the very first time because we are doing a configuration right now. Okay, so how do we run it? Config. So we are configuring, basically we are configuring a agent pool right now. What it is asking for? It is asking for enter server URL. What is the server URL? Cancel this for now. This is your server URL till your organization name. Till your organization name, this is your server URL. Okay, so dev.azure.com is the portal name, / devopsmela is the name of the organization. Enter. Enter authentication type. Please enter for PAT. So how do you authenticate? Okay, that this is the right source and the agent, wherever my build is running, it's the right source. How do you authenticate? So there is a method called PAT. PAT is nothing but a personal access token. So if you want to authenticate with personal access token, there are other authentication method also, OAuth and everything is also supported. But for now, if you want to have PAT as an authentication method, you need to go and generate a personal access token. How do you do it? Go back. At the top right hand side corner, there is a user setting option. Over there, there is an option of personal access token. Over here, you can click on new token, name it as DevSecOps agent, whatever name you want to give, it's up to you. Organization name, expiration if you want to select. If you want to go more granular, what type of access you want to give to this agent, you can go more granular. For now, let me select full, create. Copy this token and keep it, guys, because once this token is gone, the token will not be generated again. No, sorry, the token will not be generated. You can generate, that is different story. You will not get this token again. This is only one time. If you see, your token will be added over here. Okay, if you want to have the token again, you have to go and select this and click on regenerate. Okay, so this is something I'll be using it while setting up. Then later when I'm removing it, I'll require this token again at that point of time. Okay, now let's put this token. Connecting to server, connected. Enter, see this name, enter agent pool, press enter for default. Now if you press enter, what will happen? Just enter without giving the agent pool name. What will happen? Your agent will get created inside this default option. This is the reason why you have default. But you got something for yourself, correct? Self-hosted -agent. This is where you want your agents to be, correct? So let self-hosted agent. Let's have self-hosted agent. So I'm giving the name. Enter agent name. So Singh is my system name. If you want to have a specific agent name, you can give it over here, or you can go with your local system name itself. It's up to you. Scanning for tool capabilities. So basically it will do all the quick check if your system is meeting all the criteria, and then it will connect. Scanning successful. Now the steps which I'm executing right now is the exact same steps you will be doing when you're setting up your agent pool, either on your local system, on a VM which is on cloud, or a VM which is on a data center. The steps will not change, so keep this in mind, guys. Okay, now this is very important part. Enter work folder. Now remember one thing, what did I say when we were running the pipelines? So whatever is happening, the data is getting copied. Now see this checkout, this is where exactly is happening. This location. This is the location on an agent pool. This is your work directory where your file gets initially copied. Same goes with your release pipeline. So whenever you do a release, during the initialization phase, there's a work directory, release folder, which is getting created. Now what exactly is this? Do you have access to this folder? No. That is what over here it is asking for. Enter work folder. Now all these pipelines which you will execute using your self-hosted agent, everything will be stored inside this _work directory. Now you will have complete control on what is running right now, what is the file is getting copied, and what is getting executed with my pipeline. All this control if you want in your self-hosted agent. So this is the work folder wherein you can go and see what is happening. Now I'll just hit enter. I don't want to change the folder name. If you want to change it, you can go and do it. For now I'll stick with the same. Enter run agent as a service. This running any application as a service comes with an advantage. Okay, do you want to run this agent pool as a service? You should say yes. The reason is you can easily manage the start and stop of the agent. You can keep it automatic. In case of system reboot, system restart, then this agent will make sure that your services are started automatically. Now in Windows, in Linux we have seen it. Systemctl service. Remember Apache, guys? We were starting and stopping Apache service. That is service, correct? In Windows, how do you do it? So Windows, there's an option services.msc, wherein all your services are running. So when you set up this agent to run as a service, it will be part of your service.msc, and from here you can control. Now I have Apache 7, Apache 9 running in my system. I can start stop. I can keep it automatic also. I can make it automatic so that it automatically starts in case of failure. So this is what the advantage of running as a service. Definitely I don't want to run this as a service now because it's my local system, and after this session I'll be removing everything. So I'll keep it no. But in reality you should always do it yes. Other question is enter run agent as service. This is done, correct? Did we not enter anything? Okay, there is another question. Enter configure autologger and run agent on startup. This is very important. When your system is booting after a restart, then this particular agent should also get turned on automatically. This comes very handy when there is a upgrade and update which is happening, which is not known to you, and your system rebooted. So your agent pool should be robust enough to start itself. So when the system is booting, at that time itself your agent should start. Then if you want anything as such, even this is a very good option to keep. For now I'll keep it no. Done. Your configuration is done. Now you said no to everything, so definitely let me go in agent pool. Let me go to devopsmela now. Let me go to the agent. Do you see I got an agent added now? But the difference is offline. Offline is because I have said no to everything. Run agent, no. Run as auto login, no. So my agent is not running right now basically. How do I run it manual now because I said no to everything? Then there's a command called run. Scanning for tool capabilities. Connecting to server. Listening for jobs. Now your agent is running online. How do we test it quickly? Let's go and edit this pipeline. Change the agent pool. Select self-hosted. Okay. Perfect. Save and queue it. Self-hosted my own agent. But the agent name was not shown. Okay. Save and queue. So it will go and look into my self-hosted pool and it will find out which agent is available and it will start running it. Do you see running job 1, agent job 1? As soon as I triggered it, listening for jobs, running job 1. Running, started. Now if you go back to your project setting also, you can see the same thing over here. One job is running. See this. Agent name just now triggered. DevSecOps project. Duration. It's still in queue. Yeah, it started. What is the name of the agent? Saying agent running as directory. Downloading NuGet C. It's installing. So in my task I got NuGet installer, correct? So it's downloading the NuGet first for you. Then it will download NuGet command and then it will execute the task. So comparatively it could be quite slow as compared to your, and plus it is hosted on my local system. I have not given that kind of configuration to my agent to run. See, it is installing everything. VS build started, initialization done, all the required software got installed, whatever was required. Now it is checking out. This is the process where your file gets copied to your work directory. See this directory? Go back up. Check out. Do you see this directory? C agent underscore work. You have access to this directory, correct? C agent underscore work. Do you see this? You can see your file. S. See this. These are the file which got copied. This is what exactly happens when even you are using Microsoft Agent. This is all files gets copied on the agent, and that is removed immediately after the build is successful or failed. But this is exactly what happens. You can see your complete repository got cloned over here. See, this is your image file. This is your repository, correct? And this is the folder 1 and S. Okay, same when your artifact will be created, you will see an artifact getting created over here. If there is an artifact, then it will get created over here. Done. Build is done. Publish is happening. Publish done. So from this artifact directory, the file was copied into your drop location. Now if you want to look into the artifact directory, go into this. See this zip file. You saw this zip file? Now you got the zip file and it got copied in the drop location. This drop location is still in cloud, guys. This drop location which you are saying, this is still in cloud. But at the same time, what file got copied is there on your local also. All thanks to your agent pool. All thanks to your agent pool. Your job is done. And this time we have executed using my own agent pool. The job got executed using my own agent pool. See this agent pool information, self-hosted agent. Okay, now if you want to see the logs, so you have, as I said, with using your own agent pool, you have complete control. You can see what's happening. You can see what file got copied. You can see the jobs. See this job executed. Again, your agent pool is online. Your agent pool is online. Same you can do with release also, guys. If you want to do a release, I don't have a web app right now. Okay. See, it failed. They failed because I don't have a resource group. And why did it started automatically? Because we had this continuous integration trigger, continuous deployment and continuous trigger, because of which my release 4 has started automatically. Now if you go and see, my release 4 has started because we don't have the web app where the deployment will happen. We don't have the web app, correct? Hence it failed. But if you want to execute this again on my own self-hosted, I know this will fail, but let me disable this task and run this. So at least the initialization will happen. So again it will start running on my own agent this time. Previous run, if you go and see the previous run, it got executed with hosted agent. Now this run, connecting, see running. There is, this agent was stuck for some time, that's why this error logs which you see. This is because it's running on my local system with minimum CPU and memory, that's why. That's okay. Same thing, if you want, you can just set up a good VM with 4V CPU and 8 gig of memory just for your agent, then you will not see any such error, and the initialization will be more faster, guys. This is because we are running locally, hence this is what happening right now. Okay, that's it. See the initialization again, it is initialized. It started running on agent name saying this is the current agent version, and to this folder again R1 release 1 A, there's a folder R1 release 1 where your things are getting copied. This folder, see this. It's not copied yet, it's still happening, but eventually the file will come over here. So by seeing the file, you'll come to know what exactly is getting deployed, if you want to know. So again, a disadvantage or advantage, whatever you name it, because this each run, this agent folder will keep on increasing, and eventually a time will come that your agent C drive is full, and your agent will stop responding at that point of time. In such cases, you need to go inside this, clear this folder. Again, a hectic task to manage by yourself. Or you can have a auto script which will go and eventually delete last 30 days files and things like that. You can have a pipeline created to do that also. So if you want to automate, even that is possible. But for now, this is something you need to manage by yourself. Now just see, we just did a 2 run, and how many files, how many things are getting copied over here. Just imagine the load. Okay, this is done. Initialization done. Download artifact done. And if you go and finalizing the job done. So even your release was successful. Not this. See this underscore web develop. Your drop folder is right over here. This is what self-hosted agent means, guys. Anyone? Any question? Any doubt?
In the job, do we use mostly? Which one do we use mostly? Or are we just doing this self-hosted agent thing exercise only to understand how it works?
In the job, depending upon the project, mostly you use both. You'll have a hybrid. You'll be using Azure pipelines also, and you'll be using self-hosted. So definitely you will be having your self-hosted agent, because you will not have a straightforward build or release. Let me be very clear over here. You will have some custom build wherein you need a custom version of NuGet. You will need a custom version of Maven. You will need a custom version of .NET and things like that. Okay, so in such cases, self-hosted agent will come handy. Microsoft hosted agent will come handy when you're deploying things mostly on cloud. Microservice world, wherein you're deploying things on cloud and you're doing a very frequent deployment. In that cases, you'll be using Azure pipelines. So in reality, you will be using hybrid agents. You will have self-hosted agent also. You will have Microsoft hosted agent also. So when it comes to self-hosted agent, this is how exactly you will set up self-hosted agent. Okay. Now if you want to set this up on Docker, there are steps given on to setting up things on Docker. That is something I'll not cover now because we haven't done anything related to Docker. Now if you see run agent as a Docker, this is given right over here, and these are the steps which you need to execute. This is how the Docker will be set up. This is how the image will be created. This is how things will be done. This is your Docker file which needs to be executed. Now this is I'm not covering right now because we haven't covered any Docker file, anything as such. But if you want to have the same capability how Azure Pipelines is working, like creating a fresh machine every time whenever you try do a run, the same thing we can do it with Docker over here. Okay, answering to your question, you will be using both. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So that means we should know how to install, how to set this up, right? To
Yes,
set it up
yes,
and
yes, yes, definitely, yes. Okay, so after once we are done, if you want to remove everything, this is the command, guys. Let me cancel this, run, terminate the jobs, and if you want to remove everything, done. It will ask for your PAT token. That's why I kept the PAT token with me. Copy this. If you forgot, go and regenerate the PAT token. If you have created any services, any agent, anything as such, everything will be removed. Once this is removed, delete the agent folder. And I'll go and delete the file from my downloads also. So this is a pretty big file I don't want to keep unnecessarily. That's it, done. Cleanup is done. And this token which you have, just delete the token also, or you can revoke the token. Done. And if you want, you can go and delete the folder also, the agent folder which you have created. Done. You're all set. This is how you have created your agent pool. Now you have revoked everything and you have deleted things. So that's it from the agent. We got ample of things to do during this weekend, guys. We have done CI/CD classic. We have created a service connection. We have created agent pool. And Monday onwards we are starting with ARM templates. So make sure all your backlogs, if there is any backlog, complete that backlog, because Monday it's a new tool which we will be learning, and there's a prerequisite for that tool. We'll be using VS Code. Just make sure to download VS Code for Windows or Linux or Mac. VS Code is available on everywhere, so this is the place wherein you can go and download VS Code. Again, a exe file. You can just have it and just click and you'll have VS Code installed. This is how VS Code will look like. Visual Studio Code. I'm not talking about Visual Studio, guys. I'm talking about Visual Studio Code, which you need to download, because this is the IDE tool I'll be using for writing ARM templates. I can even use Visual Studio. If you want to create a ARM template, we can even use Visual Studio, but let's go and understand this IDE tool, and let's create a ARM template using this IDE tool. There's a plugin which is also needed. I'll talk about that plugin on Monday, not today. Okay guys, that's it for me. If anyone has any questions, please do let me know, or else we can wind up the call for today. If you want this link, let me give you this link. Where it is? Anyone? Kishore, yes.
Rohit, one quick question related to that self-hosted and Azure hosted pipelines. As you said, it's both we can have in production, right? So, in the which situation we can go with Azure provided one or self-hosted one.
The situation is, again, let's see, if your production is in cloud, okay, so you are deploying things on Azure VM and things like that, then Azure pipeline will make more sense because of the bandwidth and the latency what it provides, okay, as compared to if you have a VM in your data center. Just think of a hop. Like, just imagine you are having an application, Azure DevOps is again on cloud, then in between you connecting to your data center, then there's a hop at the data center where your task is getting executed, then it is getting replicated on cloud. Let me open a paint, that will make more sense. Okay, just imagine this is your Azure DevOps, and you have your data center over here wherein you have set up an agent, and your application is somewhere over here in the cloud, which is, so how many hops from here? It will go over here, the task will get executed over here, then it will get replicated over here. Just imagine if it's a Azure pipelines. So this is directly happening over here. So if you talk about latency, talk about bandwidth and everything, then Azure pipelines will make more sense over here. But just imagine you don't have a cloud, you have your data center wherein your application is hosted, and in the data center itself you have a self-hosted agent, then directly over here also. So in this scenario this will make more sense. So depending upon the project, depending upon what kind of culture you have, whether it's a hybrid infra, whether you're single infra, whether you're cloud infra, what kind of project you're working on, and what kind of requirement do you have any custom requirement wherein you need to customize your agent pool. Then if you have to customize, then there's no option guys, you have to go with self-hosted agent. Okay, and if there's no customization as such required, in my case there was no customization, we were using all latest version, so there was no need. So in that case, in my case both will work, whether I want to go with self-hosted, whether I want to go with Microsoft hosted, both will work. So again, there's no documentation as such that which one to use when. It's up to you, up to your project, what type of project, what is your expectation, and what is your requirement. So all this you need to decide which one to go with. Okay, plus cost wise, this is costly guys, as we all know. This is a bit cheap as compared to Microsoft hosted, but you have a hardware cost over here. Imagine you have your own data center, you have n number of VMs. Why will you pay extra to Azure? Even that comes a criteria. Okay, when you're doing a billing, even that becomes a criteria, that I have 100 VMs, why do I need Azure pipelines? Do everything on my own VM. Again, if your project manager says it, you have to do it, correct? Because that is where the billing is reduced. So this is the requirement guys, which you need to understand. Based on that you need to decide which one to go with. Hope that helps, Kishore.
Yeah, Rohit, yeah, got it.
Anyone else?
And one more question related to projects settings. I see there is one is a notification. I got that, but there is a service hooks one down.
Oh, we'll come to that part. This is not done yet.
Yeah, service hooks.
Yeah, we'll do this. This is basically used to connect to any third-party services. Like for example, if you want to send any notification to third-party tools such as Tribolo, or I'm not getting the name, ServiceNow, like you want to create a ServiceNow ticket, anything as such. So if you want to send any sort of notification, or if you want to connect to any third-party app, this is the place from where you can go and connect. So it's kind of events which you want to send across, and if you want to with that event, if you want to do something, then this is where you can go and do it. You can make use of this service hooks. We have a topic in this. I'm not remembering let's see. We'll be using Slack. Okay, yeah. So I'll be using a Slack.
Service hook.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I wanted to mention Slack. That service hook, like if you're integrating with Slack in case of if you're going to get some notifications on.
Correct. Yeah, we will have
team members.
We'll have a demo on this. Don't worry. We'll integrate Slack later in this course. So this is we'll do it at the very end. At the very end, not now, right now. So it's kind of just to FYI, just to notify, sending notification events when whatever happens, like your project, your build got completed, your build got failed, and you want to send an event message to your Slack channel. Then you can make use of this. This is one of the example. You can connect to many other services. Okay, this is there in the plan. We'll do service hook. So companies don't use pipelines if they use their server. I don't know. If they are just using their own server, then they will definitely not need pipelines. If they have some requirement, then they will go and purchase pipeline, or they will keep using the self-hosted only. It's up to them. Okay, make sense? Anyone else? No one?
Yeah, Rohit, sorry for one more question. Actually, it's out of Azure DevOps. As administration perspective, I integrated one, the enterprise level, the Slack and Salesforce. So in enterprise applications we have, right, in Azure Active Directory. Shall I share my screen?
Okay. Wait, let me stop
Just a minute.
presenting and let me stop record.